Hello and welcome everybody to this video based on Endgames. Today we are going to see King and Pawn versus a King and Pawn endgame. In the last video we had seen King and Pawn versus a Lone King endgame, and I suggest if you haven't seen that video then to check that out first. The link to it is in the description, and also you can click on this I button right here and you will be directed to that video. So for today, in the King and Pawn versus the King and Pawn endgame, there are 4 major principles. The first principle is white queens first. So to explain this principle, I have an interesting puzzle. So the white pawn is on a3, black king is on a2, the white king is on h2, and the black pawn is on f3 square. So here it is white to play, white is moving this side to queen and black is moving this side to queen. And the theme is white queens first. So if you want to try it by yourself, pause the video and then you can try it by yourself. Okay, I hope you have given this puzzle a go. It was white to play, and the first thing white will think is to push the pawn to a4. In the last video I had told that if the black king or any king is behind the pawn, then it can never catch the pawn. So the pawn is rolling here, king is behind it, it can never catch this pawn. But what black might try is to come diagonally here to catch this pawn, as well as to support this pawn via coming here and then queen it at the same time. So if both the queens at the same time, then it will be a draw. This is the aim, the main aim of black, and white has to prevent this so as to win the game. So now black will go to b3. You might all have thought that. Then white pushes to the a5 square, and now 90% of the people, I tell you 90% of the people might have thought black king comes to c4. But this is a major blunder. I will tell you why. Here white pushes to a6. Now here you can't push directly because the king catches the pawn and then this queens. So first you have to come to the d3 square, so that when you push he attacks, then you can come to the e2 square and then queen. Here what white will do is simply push the pawn to a7. Black pushes to f2, white makes a queen on the a8 square, and now black makes a queen on the f1 square. Now here you will tell that I told that if both the queens queen at the same time, then it will be a draw. But surprisingly here white is winning because of the move queen comes to a6 check, and now all 3 pieces are on the same diagonal, king moves anywhere, and white snatches the black queen, and white is completely winning in this position. So therefore king coming here via this route, I'll set up the position once again, take off the queens, king comes here we saw a3, king b3, a5, and now here king comes to c4 is a blunder because king comes in the diagonal of the queening square of black. So at the end white give us a check and then picks up the black pawn or the black queen. So here the correct move by black which he can try to draw is king comes to c3. Here also a big mistake that white will make is to push the pawn to a6. This is a very big and huge blunder because it is straight away draw by playing king to d2. Here if pawn pushes to a7, then we push to f2. If king comes to defend, then we come to e2, and now he makes a queen and we also make a queen, but this time we also have a check. So now both the queens are on the board, so it's a draw. So this move by white will be a disaster because it will lead to a straight away draw. So a6 white can't play. What white can play to win this game is the moment or the critical move of this entire puzzle. If you get this move, then this entire puzzle is very easy. So here if you have seen that a6 does not win, so white has the only move, that is king coming to g1, so as to come in the next move and blockade the pawn and then to queen. Here what black can try is king to d4. What is his idea is to come here and support the pawn, of course, but if white plays the move king to f2 to directly blockade this pawn, then it's a huge blunder, since in the last video also I had told you about the square rule. If you make a square like this by the white and it's black to play, black king jumps into the square and now black can catch this pawn. So here white cannot waste a move by his king coming to f2 because black is in time to catch this pawn. So here white has to play the move a6. Here black plays the move king to e3 so as to come to e2, f2 and f1 queen, and now the crusher is king to f1. Since the black king is now very far away from the square made by white, so now just blockade that pawn and in the next few moves queen. So this is how white can directly win in this puzzle. Going through the puzzle once again and then going to the second concept of this puzzle, it was white to play here. White pushes a4, king to b3, a5, king to c4 is a blunder because a6, a7, a8 queen, f2, f1 queen, and then a6 check, and then you win the black queen. So king to c5 is not possible. King comes to c3, and now here a6, another mistake by white, since now just king will come inside a7 and then push, king comes here, both sides queen, and it will be a draw. So here another mistake that white can make is to play the move a6. The main move here is king to g1 so as to blockade that pawn, and another trick played by black is coming to d4 with the idea of coming and catching this pawn and also defending this pawn. And the crusher by white is the move, not king to f2 but a6. Now if black comes inside, king f1 wins the game and seals the deal. So this was the first puzzle based on one pawn and king versus one pawn and king with the theme that white queens first. Okay, so now the second theme is white queens with a check. So moving on to the second theme, and I'll set up the puzzle and meet you in just a second. Okay, so here we are with the second puzzle, and the theme is that white queens with a check. So now if you want to give it a go, pause the video and try it by yourself. Okay, I hope that you have tried this by yourself, and it is white to play, and the first move white might think is to go a4. Now there might be also people that who wants to go first move king to d5 so as to capture this pawn and then queen. But this is simply a blunder because after king to f4, king e6 and king to e4, black can easily catch this pawn. Since whenever the pawn plays a4, let's say here, then if you make a square right here, black is easily able to intercept inside the square. So let's say if a4, then king d4 wins the game. And if you take this pawn, then simply you can come here and take this pawn anywhere. Yeah. So here at this point, moving king to d5 is simply a blunder. So white moves with a4, black goes a5, white plays a5, and now black plays e4. Here the main move is not to go a6, since then both the pawns will queen at first and no king can catch each other. Let's say a6 here, and now our king is behind the pawn, so we can't catch it. Of course black king can't catch this pawn, so both will queen at the same time and it will be a draw. So here the main move, considering the previous variation, is king coming to d4 attacking this pawn. Here black has two variations, to go to f3 or to go to f4. Now here black won't go to f3 because of a certain reason which I will explain after the first variation. So let's see king to f4. So now here we play a6, e3, king comes to d3 so as to protect the black pawn from queening, and now king comes to f3, and here black is trapped because a7, e2, and now you see a8 equals to queen, but the main thing is check. The black king is in check, and now wherever black goes, let's say here, then in the next move it's just like this check. He comes here, you come here, and then pick up this pawn and win the game. So the main crushing move here was queening with a check, and this was the main theme, that white queens first and also gives a check. Now moving behind to that variation, let me set up the entire position once again. Here you go a4, e5, then a5, e4, king comes to d4, and now here if king to f3, now you know why this is a blunder directly, because the king is now only inside the diagonal, and then we can simply go a6, e3. Now we don't need to go king to d3 only, because a7, e2, and now directly king is already on the trapped square. So a8 equals to queen and check, and white is simply winning. So this was the second variation, or you can say the second principle in the one pawn and king versus one pawn and king endgame, where white queens and gives a check. The third thing is both sides queen, but white mates or wins the queen. So this is an interesting thing, that both sides will queen, but white will mate black or white wins the queen. So for that puzzle we have pawn on e3. Let me take out all the pieces of the board. Here white pawn is on the e3 square, black king is on the e1 square, white king is on the d6 square right here, and the black pawn is on the h7 square. Okay, that's interesting. So here white is of course moving this side, black is moving this side, black king is on e1, white king is on d6, and it is white to play and win. The principle behind this puzzle is both sides queen, but white mates or white wins the queen. So pause the video and try it by yourself and see that if you can crack this puzzle or not. Okay, I hope that you cracked the puzzle, but if not, then let's see how does white play and win the game. Of course, reminding the theme that both sides queen, but white wins the queen or checkmates the opponent. So first things first, what white can think to move the pawn to e4. But this is simply a mistake, since after king to f2, and now if you go e5, let's say, then h5, and it will be a draw. How? Because now the king can't catch this pawn, since this is the square, but white king is not able to enter inside the square since white's pawn is here. So here white will just push e6, then h4, e7, h3, white will queen and black will play h2, and this is a draw, since after check, black king will just sit on h1, and this is a theoretical draw which we'll see later in the end games where we have queen versus one pawn. Since this king is cut off, so it will be a draw. For now you can say it like that. So the move here you can see say e4, king to f2, and then e5 won't work since both will queen or it will be a draw, as we saw in the stalemate pattern. So here you might think white will go king to e5 so as to protect this pawn, of course, and also to attack and take this pawn someday. So here black can simply go with the move king coming to g3. And now simply you can see white is not able to progress since white king is blocking the pawn, and also if the king moves to f5, let's say, then black will start rolling and both will queen at the same time, and it will be a simple draw. So that's why the move e4 at the start is a dubious move. So now if you have seen that e4 is a dubious move because black king runs to f2 to g3 and stops the white king to come inside, then you get the answer to this puzzle by the first move king to e5. So here we don't waste the time by pushing the pawn to e4 at first. King e5, king comes to f2, and now you go king to f4 and you take the opposition as well. Also you are planning to stop this pawn. Here what black might try is to play the move h5, because you can't come here to take this pawn since you will also lose your pawn. So here we'll go e4, and now here what black can do mistake, that is h4. h4 is simply a blunder since king to g4 and you win that pawn, and black king is behind the white pawn. So black king comes here, let's say, then you simply queen and black king can't capture this pawn at any moment. So here h5 is simply a blunder, sorry, the king was on f4, h4 is simply a blunder, and what black will do is king comes to g2. Now here white can also go wrong. You can see the endgames are so tricky that every move some player or the other can go wrong. Here white can't go king to g5 since now it is a draw again. Why? Because black can simply play king comes to g3. Now if white takes this pawn, king comes to f4 and this pawn is hanging. Also if white plays any other move, let's say pawn comes to e5, then pawn will push to h4, and now you can see the importance of the king on g3. It defends the pawn on h4, and now both sides will queen at the same time once again. Okay, sorry about that, but both will queen at the same time and it will be a draw once again. So now you can see that why the move, let's go back to the position right here, why here that it is, I suppose it's black to play, black will go king to g2, white will play the move e5, that is the main move, but white can't go king to g5 because of the move king to g3. So here white pushes the pawn to e5, here black pushes to f4, and now white players will be very serious to catch that black pawn. But the brilliant move, you can say, which wins the game is the move e6. Now you will be saying, wait, both will queen at the same time, then how will white win? But remember the theme of the puzzle is both queens at the same time, but white wins the black king, wins the black queen, or checkmates. So let's see this variation till the end. h3 by black, pawn to e7, h2, and now e8 equals to queen. Black also makes a queen on h1, and now the brilliant move is a forced mate in 4. If you can see, it's a forced mate in 4. If you want to see, you can pause the video and check it by yourself. It's very easy if you know the pattern of the mate, but if you don't know, then it is very hard. So yeah, moving on to the forced mate in 4, it is with the move queen to e2 check. Now here, if let's say king comes to h3, then you can simply go g4 check, king h2, and g3 checkmate. So here on check, king won't come to h3 because it's a mate in 3, but you will say after king to g1, how is white mating? We will give repeatedly checks like this, but white won't be able to mate. But the pattern, this very important pattern, you have to keep this pattern every time in your mind, that if both queens, both pawns queen at the same time, and the king, white king is near to the black king, then white will crush it by the move king to g3, and black is under zugzwang. Black does not have any good move with which black can progress. You can see black has the queen, but black does not have any check. If you notice, black queen can't come anywhere to give a check because white queen is supporting some squares, or the other squares are of no use. And wherever black queen goes, let's say somewhere here or here, back rank checkmate. You can also come here, check, and give a checkmate. So this is the pattern, that king comes to g3, and now it's like forced mate in 3 because black queen will sack first and then you checkmate it. Also note here, what black can try is queen to f3 check. Here if you take the queen with the queen, then you will start crying like hell because it's a stalemate. It's a brilliant stalemate, or you can say worst stalemate, in which you can get trapped. So here just king takes, and king will run, and then you checkmate it in the next move. So this was the pawn, one pawn and king endgame, and versus one pawn and king endgame, where the theme was white and black both queen at the same time, but white manages to take the black queen or checkmates the opponent. The fourth and the last theme to this endgame is white captures the pawn. This is a very interesting thing. Let's look at it directly. I'll take out all the pieces, and here in the book you can see there are many positions are given. The first position is white pawn is on b5, white pawn is on b5, black pawn is on b6, white king is on c5, and black king is on okay, white king is on c6 and black king is on a5 or a7, my bad, a7. So here it is white wins. In this first situation, white wins. Whoever moves, white wins. Let's say it's black to play, you can see both have pawns, both have kings, but white is superior because white is queening this side, of course, and black king, you can see white has advanced so many squares and white king is supporting and is just winning by one move. Yeah, so if it's black to play, then let's say black moves here, you simply take the pawn and now white is winning. Here even if black takes the position, white is winning because white king is on the 6th rank, and as I had told in the last video, if the king reaches the 6th rank, even if black has a position, then also white wins. So of course here if black plays, white will win, but even if white plays, then also white will win because white has the move king to c7, and this black king cannot go to a6 square because white pawn defends it, so black has to come to a8, and now also you regain the pawn once again and win the endgame. Okay, so the second position that white here in the book it says is white pawn is on g4, white pawn g4, black pawn g5, white king h5, right, h5, and black king is right here on f6. So here also it is a draw, I suppose, but let's look at it directly. Let's see if it's black to play, what happens. Of course black to play, then black moves anywhere, white comes and takes this, and it will be a win. But wait, here is a tricky part. Here black will go to f7. This is a tricky part because now if white takes, then black king comes to g7, takes the position, and now it's a draw. So in the last position what was happening, king was coming to the 6th rank. Here it's only on the 5th rank, so it's a draw. So this puzzle right here, this is the same puzzle right here, but only one rank behind. It's one rank behind, so it's a draw. Even if white to play, then white comes to h6, black comes to f7, white takes, and black gets the opposition. Another last puzzle, based on this only we will see white pawn is on b2. Here you can see white pawn is on b2, then black pawn is on b3, white king is on a3, and black king is on c2. Okay, so here it is, let's say white to play or black to play. Let's see, white pawn is queening this side, black pawn is queening this side. Let's say it's black to play, then black can't come here because this pawn is guarding the square. If black comes here, black goes anywhere, let's say here, white takes this pawn, also has the position, and white wins. Let's say white comes here, black comes here, white comes into the key squares, and so white will win it. Going behind, if black king of course goes behind the pawn, white takes it and then you queen it, so it's winning. But what if it's white to play? White to play is an interesting thing because black is moving this side, white is moving this side. So if white plays, let's say white comes here behind, then black is winning. So black takes his pawn and black is winning. So here this puzzle is a very interesting puzzle, and here whoever moves loses. Means like white, if it is white to play, black wins, black to play, white wins. So here in the game it will be very interesting that white will tell I don't want to move, black will also tell I don't want to move. But of course in the game of chess you have to move, and one time you will have to lose the game also. So this was the fourth puzzle, that is white captures the pawn. This position comes throughout the board in every end game. I have seen this many times in my game also, that at the end also this position mainly which we saw firstly, which was here, I suppose. Yes, this position I have seen many times in my game, that white comes here and black has to move and white takes the pawn. Black moves, white takes the pawn. So this is a pattern that you have to remember inside your mind. The second pattern which you have to remember is this one which we saw in the last puzzle. This is also very important pattern you have to keep in mind so that you crush your opponent in the end game. So yes, with this we come to an end to this video and to this end game. We have mastered this. Only thing, we have to practice this day by day, every day, 1 week, twice a week, and then we have mastered this end game, that is one pawn and king versus one pawn and king end game. If this position comes in your game and you win it, then do come here in wapas, come back to this video put it in the comments that thank you because you got this puzzle and you won it. Also, any other suggestions, any other things about all the puzzles in the video, you can put your comments in the comment section. Comments is open for all. Also, you can like this video because we have seen we saw the entire end game of one pawn and king versus one pawn and king, so it might be very helpful. So do like the video, and also if you like this series of end game patterns and tricks and everything about the end game, then do hit the subscribe to this channel. It will mean a lot. It will motivate me to make new videos for you. And so this was the end of the video. See ya in the next video. Stay safe, play chess. Goodbye. Bye bye.